What is happening, YouTube world? Thanks for coming back on another Bluegill series here. Today we're going to be talking about the bluegill. Now we did an introduction the other day about me coming back and what series we're going to be doing, what we're going to be talking about here on the channel. Now today's episode is going to be about the bluegill, a little bit of information about the bluegill, and just basically an introduction to the bluegill world. So when we get down to it here, and I'll give you some good information that might help you. And it's just, to me, I find fascinating, and I figured it would be kind of cool to just share. So, yeah, let me get to it here and tell you a little bit more about it. Alrighty, let's get down to it here. We're going to be talking about bluegill. We're going to be talking about where they originated, how they came along, and about where they're at in the world. Bluegill are part of the sunfish family. They are a sunfish. They're native to North America. They are commonly found in streams, rivers, and lakes. Some wetlands, you can find them in wetlands. They're pretty much, they're everywhere east of the Rocky Mountains. Okay, bluegill are also known as brim, bullnose. What was the other one? Sunnies. Some people call them sunnies. They're just about everywhere. Bluegill have been introduced to actually other places as well. They're outside of Japan. They're in South Africa and some parts of the states, that didn't have bluegill. They was introduced. Now, some countries that do have them, like Japan, South Africa, and certain parts of the United States, they actually consider them as an invasive species because y'all all know how well bluegill populate, how quick they populate. It can take over in no time, no time. They're also in Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and Mexico. Yeah, who knew that? Who knew they was that far over down? They're everywhere. I didn't think they'd be in Hawaii, but apparently they have. Here in Kentucky, bluegill was actually founded and named in 1810. It's when bluegill first became its first name. Someone named it a bluegill. It's actually by a French naturalist. Um, that guy's name was Constantine Samuel Rafunesque. Now, I'm not sure if I'm saying that name correctly. I apologize if I butchered it. But anyways, he was the first one to describe the bluegill in 1810, actually out of the Ohio River. And he was actually doing some kind of college or something here in Kentucky, and he was a naturalist. He's very well known. Y'all are more welcome to do some research on him. But he first noticed the bluegill coming out of Ohio River, and then he decided, hey, it looks like some kind of bluefish. I'm gonna name it a bluegill, and that name has stuck since 1810. And that was the first time it was ever mentioned, and back in the old days, back in the 1800s, and that's how bluegill got its name, was by that French guy. But anyways, some places here in Kentucky that have them is, we got Kentucky Lake. Kentucky Lake is actually one of the top big boy lakes to have the biggest, baddest bluegill around. Kentucky Lake is ranked like number one in Kentucky. Here in Kentucky, I'm not saying worldwide. I'm saying here in Kentucky for where to go catch you the biggest bluegill at. Bluegill are everywhere in Kentucky. Bluegill are also considered a really good fish for beginning anglers. Everybody started out on a bluegill. I started out catching bluegill as a kid. My kids started out catching bluegill as a kid. They're very fun. They're cheap. They're versatile. You can just about catch them anywhere and catch them on anything. Literally anything. Some other information. Some people also mistake, a lot of people mistake bluegill for red ears or green ears sunfish too. And that's okay. There's some people that still call bluegill or red ear or bluegill as another name. That's okay. That's fine. Whatever you want to call them, that's fine. Um, um, they also call them pumpkin seeds too. They also mistake pumpkin seeds as them too. Bluegill are okay. So let's talk about what are after bluegill, like their prey. Well, everything eats a bluegill. I mean, you've got bass, you got pike, you got walleye, you got catfish, you've got muskie. My first muskie I ever hooked into, I was actually catfishing with a live bluegill underneath a float, and he took it, and I wasn't planning on it. I didn't have no still leader. Most of the time you gotta have some kind of still leader for the muskie. We'll get into that. That's later on down the road about muskie stuff. But anyways, I was catfishing, and I was sitting there and my ball just took off. I went to set the hook, and I thought it might have been a little flathead, decent little channel cat. Nope, muskie. Got him up to the bank, saw him, he turned, snapped the line, that was the end of it. My first ever muskie and my last. I've never fished for muskie, so that's a different story. But anyways, even us humans, we love bluegill. We love some pond eating bluegill, river bluegill. We love eating bluegill river. Everybody loves bluegill. Turtles. I've even looked on here and found out that some frogs, will eat bluegill. Especially when they're, they first just hatch and they're smaller. Frogs will eat bluegill. I mean, sorry bluegill, but you're a prey of everything. So good luck on that. But anyways, yeah, white bass, blue herring. There's birds that eat them. Raccoons, kingfishers. Man, there's a slew of animals out there and creatures that love eating bluegill. So it's not just us. But back to where we can find them at. But anyways, here in Kentucky, we have them everywhere. They are literally everywhere. Now, if you fish a Fins Lake, you may run into catching a few hybrid bluegill. We'll run into that another episode. But they have produced some hybrid bluegill that they stock in the Fin Lakes, and they do get pretty big. Now, as this journey goes on for me, I don't want to consider the hybrid bluegill as my PB in this series or something like that. I want to catch a normal Joe bluegill, just a normal Joe bluegill that grew on its own, that got big and fat, and I caught it. I don't want something that's been mutated and been grown, increased. Don't get me wrong, it will be fun, but I'm not gonna, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. But anyways, so let's talk about cooking. Let's talk about cooking these awesome little fish. So 9 times out of 10, people like pan frying bluegill. Which, who doesn't like a pan fried fish? I love fried fish. But most of the times, people will pan fry them in flour, some of their own home tradition of flour, their own little cornmeal batter. A lot of people in my area loves cornmeal. I'm a flour type guy on my fish batter. I'll share it. Well, again, it's a whole nother video. A lot of people here like the cornmeal. They really love cornmeal in my area on every fish that they catch. And there's nothing wrong with that. I also learned that, there's some people that do smoke them. There's some people that do grill them. There's some people that do. I've got some books. I've got some really cool books I'm gonna show y'all eventually. And there's actually a recipe for microwaving a bluegill. No thanks. I'll pass. But yeah, that's how a lot of people cook them. Yeah. Well, that's gonna be fun later. Anyways, let's talk about Kentucky State Record. Let's talk about record bluegills. Okay, so Kentucky State Record bluegill is actually 4 pounds and 3 ounces. That fish was caught back on August the 5th in 1980. Yes, that's been a long holding bluegill. It was caught by a guy named Phil Conyers, and he actually caught the fish at an old strip mine. From what I have gathered from research from looking this up, there is actually a video of this guy talking about this. I will include a link down in the description. There will be a link down in the description. And he's talking about that day and how he caught it and more about stuff. So he actually caught that. To me, I thought it was going to be something like a red worm, something live worm, something live bait, but it wasn't. It is actually caught, he recalls it as he caught it on a 4-inch artificial worm. Just a normal looking little thing. It looks like a normal night crawler, but it's artificial. And he actually caught it in a strip mine in Hopkins County here in Kentucky. We may be able to look into that, maybe go up there and check it out one day. That'd be cool. That'd be a cool episode. Go up there and fish it. And yeah, that sounds like fun. Alright, so now let's talk about the world record bluegill. Okay, so the world record bluegill is 4 pounds and 12 ounces as today standing as I make this video. Okay, this is March the 9th or 8th, one of those two. It's March 8th or 9th. No big deal. And the world record still stands as 4 pounds and 12 ounces for the world record bluegill. That's not far off for Kentucky's 4 pound and, I think it was, 3 ounces? 4 ounces. Yeah, 3 ounces. 4 pounds, 3 ounces for Kentucky. And the world record is 4 pounds, 12 ounces. So that's not very far off. That fish was actually caught in Ketona Lake. I'm not sure. I may be butchering that name. Ketona Lake in Alabama. Now, it didn't say the guy's name. I may have left it out. I may have forgotten it. But it was actually caught on April 9th, 1950, using basic red worms and a cane pole, is how that fish was caught. Um, and yeah, that's pretty cool. That's really cool. I'm gonna do some more research. It might not be in this video, but I could have sworn I wrote it down about the guy's name. I feel bad for leaving his name out. If I find it, I'll make sure to put it down in the description. I apologize for that. But yeah, there's just some information about bluegill. There's a little bit of introduction about bluegill. And some people might find this kind of boring. Some might find it kind of interesting, and hopefully it helps somebody. This is something new to me. This is something I've been wanting to do for years. I'm finally getting around to doing it. I'm getting back to myself, and this is what I'm after. This is what you're going to see more of here on the channel. Now, you're going to see some fishing. We're just getting this out. We're getting this little series going. We're trying to get people settled. We're trying to teach a thing or two. I'm not a great instructor. I'm not a teacher or nothing like that. I'm just a normal Joe guy just trying to help go out and have fun, maybe share a thing or two about some fish. And yeah. But yeah, there's a little introduction to the bluegill world. Hopefully you learned something new. If you like that, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Tell me what your PB bluegill is. I'd love to know your PB bluegill. I'd like to see your PB bluegill if you got a picture or a video. Maybe we can set up some kind of email where y'all can send me your email with a picture, and I'll do a whole video of nothing, just y'all's catches of bluegill. You know, I love looking at people's catches. But I hope y'all like this video. I'm gonna end this here, and I gotta get back to doing some housework. We just bought a house, so I'm getting everything set up here. This is gonna be my little studio here. But until next time, I'll catch y'all on this one. Bye, y'all.